Mark Rogers TV back with you to talk some Alabama football. We bring in Stephen M. Smith from Touchdown Alabama with the Tide at 10-0, taking on Chattanooga this week at 8-2. A pretty good ball club, and Nick Saban definitely let the media know this week that there will be no looking past Chattanooga. He respects that team, and he forces his players and coaches to respect the opponent, even on the FCS level. So let's start right there, Stephen, in regards to Chattanooga. Of course, it's an FCS school. Coach Saban has had much to say in regards to taking on Power 5 schools and wanting the schedule to be built out. 9 games in the SEC, strong Power 5 play, not necessarily taking on FCS schools. So he doesn't get it his way, but he definitely respects Chattanooga.
He respects Chattanooga, Mark, and it all goes back to that 2011 game that Alabama had against Georgia Southern, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a team in Georgia Southern that ran a lot of the triple option. Alabama that year had a lot of big-time players on defense: Dre Kirkpatrick, Mark Barron, D. Milner. Names on that defense, including also, I believe, Dante Hightower and Courtney Upshaw also on that unit. But Georgia Southern still rushed for 302 yards and a touchdown in a game in which Saban was like, they ran through us and we couldn't stop them. And despite Alabama winning a national championship that year, that was the game that really brought the respect factor from Saban when it comes to playing a lot of these lower tier teams, because though they may not have the type of talent that a Power 5 conference school would have, they're on your schedule. You have to play them. And if they're going to get up for this game, you better get up for it.
Let's talk about the running back situation. Bo Scarbrough, for second consecutive week, will sit out. Of course, he bruised the knee against LSU, sat out against Mississippi State. Definitely wasn't needed in the 51-3 win, and it's time definitely for Damian Harris. But in particular, Josh Jacobs could be a workhorse this week, possibly.
This is going to be his game by far. Saban not going to take too much on to Bo Scarbrough. As you mentioned, the bruised knee, taking it in stride with him. He's been wearing a very heavy brace on that left knee all week in practice, moving kind of gingerly on that. Has been taking reps, has been doing some individual things and some team drills, but not moving as far as that quick burst with that heavy brace on that knee. As opposed to Damian Harris, you can see him getting some work done in the first quarter against Chattanooga, despite him wearing a splint on his right hamstring throughout the last couple of weeks in practice and going through a couple of knee and ankle issues. He hasn't shown that burst that he's shown during the early part of the season, but still a tough, hard-nosed runner and still a productive player is Damian Harris, and also a very good pass blocker. So he will play Chattanooga, but this is going to be Joshua Jacobs' game. He's earned that. Here's a guy that recruited, did not come into the recruiting mainstream until late in that 2016 recruiting class, but it's somebody that's come to Alabama. He's shown the vision. He's shown the work ethic, the speed. He's got tremendous hands out the backfield as a pass catcher. And something that's underrated about him, Mark, I watched him against Mississippi State. He can pass block. Does a great job taking on the oncoming blitzer, knocking up at the point of attack, and giving his quarterback Jalen Hurts time to throw the football. Coach Saban has expressed how the team has confidence in him. Jacobs very much so has confidence in himself. He is going to be getting the bulk of the carries this week.
Yeah, if you look at the stat sheet, it's difficult to separate the three. You have to watch them play on the field because the offensive line has been so dominant up front for most part in the running game that all three of them extremely effective. You mentioned Jacobs' contribution in the passing game, 11 receptions in limited time, 133 yards. So he's been effective out of the backfield receiving some passes.